Shalom. Giving all praises to Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai, and double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. May Yahweh Bashim Yahweh Shai's peace be bestowed unto you, hopefully elect. I'm your brother Yahweh Call from the Great Millstone, Orlando. Just some said speculation, of course, the narrative that Esau puts out there is different to what he's actually doing behind the scenes. All right. And with that being said, this is just in light of with this whole meeting of these top generals that have pretty much been summoned for this meeting. As we see more and more Esau, which the elites using Trump to declare war on the citizens of Babylon. All right. But again, before that, dealing with this meeting, with these top generals, just watching this video here about off-grid desert farming. As always, these guys that have a small fraction of a much bigger Picasso, because only the prophets can connect the dots and make the picture clear. All these guys can do is tell you to get off grid, buy your guns, your ammo, food, prep, and things of that nature, which the scriptures talk about. There was no escaping the wrath of Yahweh by Shema Shai that's getting ready to come. Like it says in 2 Edges 9, only those that are, and not so many words, under the banner of Yahweh Bashim Shai will be preserved from the said perils. But nevertheless, the water, Yahweh Bashim Shai, Lord willing, to those of us, which we believe we are the hopeful elect, because we're definitely on the right track. And I just say that because, again, the water, Yahweh Bashim Shai, it just goes to show you how cold the Lord is. Brothers have nothing to worry about at the end of the day, because like the scriptures say, man, the Lord, he promised that someone was going to eat. He promised his elect were going to eat. Now how? Well, we don't know. That's why it boils down to faith. But nevertheless, again, the water Yahweh Bashim Shai, because all these guys stacking up on food and supplies and things of that nature, they don't even know. They're reserving that for the elect. So the water Yahweh Bashim Shai, you see how the Lord works. The Lord already has details worked out on the behalf of his elect. So again, the elect have nothing to worry about, But nevertheless, getting into, again, this video, we'll play a portion, because this is a set speculation as far as, like I said, the narrative, as far as what Esau puts out there, as far as the narratives versus what he's actually doing behind closed doors is totally different. So this is the set speculation of what's being said behind those closed doors, dealing with the meeting of these top generals. And well, without further ado, of course, fair use. Just so happens to see this video. I'm not making any type of monetary gain. This is just for informational purposes. So copyright disclaimer, fair use. With that being said, we're going to play a portion of this video.
It's like crickets, folks. Huh? Like crickets. So let's go ahead and get to what happened today at Quantico. This was quite a meeting of pretty much every general and admiral in the entire U.S. military was assembled in one place at one time. But I want you to look at their faces. These generals and admirals do not look happy. The majority of the people that were assembled today, they do not look very happy that their commander-in-chief dragged them from all over the world from their very, very important position. What happened today could have been done on a video call or an email. Pete Hegseth, which is not qualified to be the Department of Defense secretary, He's not qualified, folks. He was in the Army National Reserve. He wasn't a full-blown soldier. He's an alcoholic to begin with, a wife beater. He's not qualified. He doesn't have enough experience to run the Defense Department of the United States, now the Department of War. He doesn't have the qualifications. He's underqualified.
And I don't know if these details are in fact true, but nevertheless, that would be pretty crazy. This inexperienced, supposedly, allegedly, drunk woman beater or whatever the case may be. Again, summoning all these top generals, these men who have actually been to war, experienced war. This shit's just crazy.
And he assembled about 800 admirals and generals in one place. They don't look like they want to be there. They don't look like they're happy. For basically a dressing down and a pep rally. If you don't know what a dressing down is, that means I get in front of your face and I get real close to you with my finger in your face, and I basically cuss you out or tell you who's the boss, and you're going to do what I say. That's what's called a dressing down. You assert your authority. So that's what happened today. Pete Hegseth got up there like a banny rooster, strutting across the stage, acting like a big shot when he's not qualified. Folks, listen, a lot of people like my channel because I don't sugarcoat the information. I give you raw news. I don't care who's listening. I'm an American citizen. I love our country. I love the flag. I'm a patriot. I will stand up for what is right and wrong. I don't care if you like it or not. And I'm telling you the God's honest truth. Pete Hegseth is not qualified to run the military in our country. He's not.
And just a little sidebar, man. Because again, in light of basically, like I mentioned in the beginning, Trump declaring war on the American citizens. The Apostle Tahar was going into it. You mentioned the other day about how, because at one point it was called the Department of Defense, right? And with that being said, of course, when you're in defense mode, and not so many words as the Apostle Tahar was breaking it down, you're attacked and you have the right to defend yourself. But now that they've changed the whole model to the Department of War, well, pretty much, man, war means you go out looking for trouble. In not so many words, again, as Apostle Tahar was breaking down. So, again, he's pretty much declared war on American citizens. So, I was making a point, because like the scriptures go into that hour of temptation, that's going to befall the world, all right? Now, everything is of Yahweh Bashim Shai, the timing of Yahweh Bashim Shai, right? But nevertheless, Esau, because they could have been hit the kill switch. If it was up to Esau, he would have been hit the kill switch. But like I said, everything is of Yahweh Bashim Shai. And with that being said, Esau, the fact that he hasn't hit that kill switch yet, and through the power of the Lord on the left hand, he's allowing this internet to stay up. Because, you have all type of blackouts going on in different places, man. Afghanistan just got hit with the internet blackout, all right? The Taliban's over there restricting the internet access and things of that nature. All these cyber attacks and things of that nature. Eventually, Esau's going to hit the kill switch. But before he does that, he's collecting all this data, you see? And all these people with these certain talking points, such as my man here, all right, and many other of these guys, because the hour of temptation again is going to come upon everyone, not just the Israelites, not just those of us of the hopefully elect, all right, everyone, all right, guys like my man's here, right, because this guy he's a supposed Christian, so you watch this video, man, watch a lot of his videos. He goes into how pretty much he's not scared. Right, he goes on to, hey man, y'all gonna come after me, then do what y'all gotta do, because in the name of Jeebus, these people, certain of these people, they talk about, hey, we're not afraid of man, right? We fear God, right? We fear Jesus. We don't fear man and things of that nature. Well, hey, again, that's why the hour of temptation is going to come upon all y'all. All y'all as well. All right, it's going to befall everyone. All right, these guys talk about, hey, hey, bring the fight. Well, hey, that's exactly what's getting ready to happen. But nevertheless, y'all got to get tested too. Y'all are going to get your faith and what you proclaim to believe in is going to be tested too. But because again, nevertheless, Esau, he's going to come down with that great wrath, and again, he's collecting data. All right, we already know he's eyeballing the prophets, the men of the Lord. But anyone that pretty much is against the whole Esau's enterprise, all right, is a target, is a threat. So, the fact that this internet's still up, and again, Esau is just sitting back and collecting information for when they do make their moves. And Lord willing, sooner than soon, it appears that Esau is getting ready to do what he's about to do. In light of this meeting, all right, and it's going to be rather interesting to see how this plays out, dealing with this whole government shutdown, which I know, certain individuals might think of a government shutdown. You might think it equivalent to like let's say an economic collapse, but that's not necessarily the case when it comes to a government shutdown. But nevertheless, it is more fuel to the fire. All right. What do they call the term? The whole get cut by a thousand razor blades. However the saying goes. It's just more of a slow and painful death. But I'm just mentioning that government shutdown because with the government shutdown, basically the government suspends certain of these programs, federal programs, the fundings and things of that nature because they can't afford it, they can't pay for it. And then part of that funding is the military. And as we've seen, or for those that have been paying attention with this whole dispatching of troops throughout the U.S., throughout Babylon, it's going to be rather interesting to see how this plays out. Are they going to continue to the military going to continue to get paid? Because certain scriptures that come to mind, just like scriptures like the mighty man forbearing to fight, right? And a part of that being that they ain't getting paid. Why a lot of these cats in the military, man, they're gonna go AWOL because they ain't getting paid. A lot of them just gonna say fuck it. So, that's gonna be rather interesting to see how that plays out. But continuing on with this video.
Qualified. He's too young. He doesn't have enough experience. These guys that you're looking at right here, they're qualified. They've been in the military 30, 40 years. The actual military, not the reserves. And they don't like being talked down to. They don't like being bullied by a drunkard, a wife beater, a Fox News host that is not qualified to run our military. And by the way, a lot of people don't know this. Do you know in the entire history of Trump's family in America, and that's been about 150 years, if you go back to when I believe the first Trump immigrated to America, it's been about 150 years or so. When Donald Trump's ancestors immigrated from Germany into America, none of Donald Trump's family has ever served in the military because they had a rare genetic defect called bone spurs. Bone spurs evidently runs in Donald Trump's family all the way back to 150 years. They called Trump Captain Bone Spurs. So none of Trump's sons, grandchildren, none of Trump's ancestors, not one of them served in the Army, Navy, Marine Corps, or Air Force. And he's got the audacity to want loyalty from these generals when he himself or none of his family in 150 150-year history has ever served in the American military, protecting our country with their blood. He is unqualified to be commander-in-chief. Unqualified. I'm sorry. Remember when Donald Trump says that the military are losers, soldiers are losers? I played you that video, folks. He said it with his own mouth. Soldiers that die or are killed or are wounded on the battlefield are losers. Donald Trump called American soldiers losers. I'm giving you history. I'm not lying to you. Everything I'm telling you, I have played before in a video. So let me play you an excerpt of this. I want to show you a short video here. This is Donald Trump when he was first addressing the generals, and he said, "I've never been to a crowd that was so quiet." And at the end of this short clip, he says, "You know, if you don't like what I'm saying, you can walk out, but that will be career ending." So the military got a dressing down today by an unqualified Department of Defense Secretary, Pete Hegseth, and an unqualified Commander-in-Chief, Captain Bone Spurs, which none of his family, you can fact check this information, none of Donald Trump's family served in the American military. None. Let me play this for you.
Thank you very much, Pete. A great job you're doing, too. Fantastic job. I've never walked into a room so silent before. This is very... Don't laugh. You're not allowed to do that. You know what? Just have a good time. And if you want to applaud, you applaud. And if you want to do anything you want, you can do anything you want. And if you don't like what I'm saying, you can leave the room. Of course, there goes your rank. There goes your future. But you just feel nice and loose, okay? Because we're all on the same team. And I was told that, sir. You won't hear it.
And as my man's here is going to go into this video and explain, because as Trump said, hey, we are all on the same team. But and that's why, again, I wanted to use this clip by my man's here, because, you know, it makes sense to me, just as far as the whole sentiment of the whole summoning of these top generals to make sure that they're on the same team. You know, that's why, you know, in my humble, vain opinion, and I believe, again, the calling for these top generals, they want to make sure that they're all on board for when these unethical orders start to get dropped. All right. You know, because Trump was talking about the loyalty. You know, he wants their loyalty. So they want to make sure that they're on that they're all on the same page, because, hey, like I said, Lord willing, sooner than soon, Esau's finally going to make his move. He just declared war on you tribes, well, American citizens, but, you know, we know he wants to come after the tribes.
You won't hear it. A murmur in the room. They said we had to loosen these guys up a little bit. So you just have a good time. But
So that was one speech. So basically what happened, today is Pete Hegseth, this is a war on diversity, equity, and inclusion. So what Pete Hegseth basically said today to the generals is, I want you to get rid of every woman, black person, or other person in the military, basically. This is a war on minorities, because there are very, very qualified black people in the military. If you look at this picture, there's at least 1, 2, 3, I think maybe 4 black generals right here. This guy on the first row. Let me look. There's an Army general back here, another Army general here. I'm not sure if this is the Navy or, yeah, I think this is the Navy here, Navy general here. Another black general.
And they could be chocolate-covered Edomites. You never know. You know, this thing of ours is not a thing about skin color.
Here. So what he's saying is that if you're black or if you're a woman, you're not qualified to be in our military. And there has been people that joined the military 30, 40 years ago that worked themselves up into rank, and it has nothing to do with diversity, equity, and inclusion. They are career soldiers. They served our country with their blood. They served our country patriotically, and they should not be fired just because they're black, brown skin, or a woman. I'm sorry. If you're qualified, there's nothing wrong with black, Hispanic, or women being in the military if you're qualified. If you go by the qualifications, then Pete Hegseth shouldn't be our defense secretary. He's not qualified. He was hired under Donald Trump's DEI for butt kissing. You see, Donald Trump doesn't want any of these generals to disobey him when he says...
So just to rewind real quick, because that's like low life pieces of shit. Because in this truth, man, to quote, I believe it was the elder Ariella from Dallas, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. But to quote the elder, man, about, hey, I'm gonna grab this real quick. Talking about niggas that know the scriptures are the worst kind of niggas. Again, to quote the elder. Matthew 13 and 47. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like unto a net that was cast into the sea and gathered of every kind, which when it was full, they drew to shore and sat down and gathered in the good into vessels, but cast the bad away. So basically, dealing with individuals in this truth, because to make the whole comparison, dealing with this guy Pete Hegseth, whatever his name is, basically talking down on these generals that have actual experience. It's like I said, low life pieces of shit. Like No Priest, Alizar, guys like that, niggas like Naquan from Wi-Fi, novice, new guys coming up, trying to tell the apostles to step down, they need to retire, talking shit against the apostles, the men that they learn from. These men labored longer than a lot of us have been alive, growing up in grade school, diapers in grade school, and these men are pretty much perfecting their craft. Because making the point again, to quote the elder, hey, there was niggas that know the scriptures are the worst type of niggas, man. The worst type of individuals that you find are niggas in the truth, niggas that know the scriptures, man. So just to make that comparison, all right, these new guys, novice coming up, talking shit, talking down against the apostles. Like, who are you? So just using that comparison with this guy dealing with all these top generals that have actual experience in war and things of that nature.
He was hired under Donald Trump's DEI for butt kissing. You see, Donald Trump doesn't want any of these generals to disobey him when he says, attack Venezuela, attack Russia, attack China, attack Iran, and attack your own American citizens. Donald Trump doesn't want anybody to say no when he gives the order to attack. And you can say that is chain of command, that is military protocol. I agree. But Donald Trump is going to go after American citizens, folks. He's basically declared war on about half of the people that live in America, the Democratic Party. So,
yeah, because even with this whole, again, going back to the government shutdown, of course, both sides are blaming one another. All right, I'm going to grab this. And again, dealing with a government shutdown, it's not as equivalent to like a whole economy shutdown or nothing like that. But nevertheless, it is more fuel to the fire. It makes a slower death quicker. Dealing with a government shutdown, the government can be back up and running the next day, next week, the next month, so I believe that the last government shutdown we had was actually going back to Trump's first term when he was in office the first time. But nevertheless, both sides are all blaming one another. The red against the blue, blue against the red. You got certain Democratic leaders basically telling people to, hey, get violent. This whole rhetoric with Trump, man, about going after these blue states, going after it's a controlled demolition, order out of chaos. Isaiah 19. I'm going to start at 11. Surely the princes of Zoan are fools. The counsel of the wise counselors of Pharaoh is become brutish. How say ye unto Pharaoh, I am the son of the wise, the son of ancient kings? Where are they? Where are thy wise men? And let them tell thee now, and let them know what the Lord of hosts hath proposed upon Egypt. The princes of Zoan are become fools, and princes of Noph are deceived. They have also seduced Egypt, even they that are the stay of the tribes thereof. So basically, the so-called leaders, all right, because that's why 2 Edges 15 is going to come into play, going into the sedition of men. Basically, people taking matters into their own hands when they found out that these leaders, they're fools. These people that are supposed to be set up on the behalf of the little guy, so to say, right? But people are waking up to the fact more and more that, hey, both sides, man, they're just feathers off of the same bird, man. And people are waking up to the fact. These so-called leaders, from the president to the mayors, governors, and so on and so forth. They give off the appearance that they're on the behalf of the people, but hey, it's what do you call it? Controlled opposition. Because behind closed doors, man, these guys, they talk shit. They put it out there as if Trump and Elon Musk were going at it. But, there's a recent video, it might have been at some game, baseball game, or some game, some sports event. They were shaking hands and laughing, So behind closed doors, man, they're, drinking baby's blood and shit, Hey, the world is a stage, man. Reading on in verse 14. The Lord hath mingled a perverse spirit in the midst thereof, and they have caused Egypt to err in every work thereof, as a drunken man staggereth in his vomit. So the point being, this perverse spirit, all right, as it says in Isaiah 42, Yahweh Bashemashah stirring up that spirit of war, the spirit of jealousy. All right, the narrative is being set, laws are being put into place, a lot of distractions, witchcraft, sorcery. Esau stirring up the emotions of the people, all these psyops. Again, we just got out of a day of atonement, Yahweh Bashemashah Bartazah. We have a clean slate with Yahweh Bashemashah, because, again, this thing of ours is getting ready to transition. All right. It's getting ready to get real hot and heavy out here, man. I just had a dream. I did a video the other day about a dream that I had, man. Esau set me up, man. And I remember feeling that feeling in the dream, like, damn. But I wasn't even mad, though. I wasn't even mad, Knowing the scriptures, hey, we were warned. Yahweh Shemashah told us that offenses are coming. Brothers are getting ready to get lied on, persecuted, the whole 9 yards. Esau, man, hey, he's getting ready to come down in that great wrath. So just eyes peeled, man, and play some more of this.
Is the military going to go into all the Democratic cities with their tanks, machine guns, drones? Are we going to take out the Democratic capitals? Are we going to arrest Governor Newsom and hang him at the White House? Is that where this is going? Remember the movie they made last year, the Civil War movie? Well, folks, that's coming true. There is going to be a civil war in the United States, and Donald Trump's going to start it.
Lord willing.
Americans will be fighting Americans again. And there will be tens of thousands of Americans killed on American soil by Americans. And Donald Trump will be the one that starts it. Not Joe Biden, not Kamala, not Hillary Clinton, not Barack Obama, but Donald J. Trump. The man of sin, the man of perdition, the man of lawlessness.
And, he's going off there, That's all another topic, though. But as a little sidebar, and I mentioned this the other week, again, because all of these distractions, I do believe this month, dealing with this whole Epstein fiasco, that the Clintons are supposed to be going, dealing with some type of a hearing. They got to report to some type of a hearing or something along that line. So with that being said, I would suspect some type of major distraction because, here it is, man. They've been talking about Esau with this Blue Beam project, his technology, right? Staged some type of an event, right? They're talking about because you're supposed to have this rapture that was supposed to take place last week. Supposedly they postponed the date, for October. So again, man, it's just a thing of having the eyes peeled because hey, there's a lot going on, a lot of sleight of hand. Esau, known this crafty devil. He's making moves. And through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shema Shah, the Lord is making power moves. So, like I said, because, you watch this video, man, hey, my man's is going in, and it's all a part of Esau being bare. All right. Esau being a third witness against himself. I always talk about in the mouth of 2 or 3 witnesses. Well, hey, you got northern and southern kingdom exposing this devil, but hey, Esau is a third witness against himself, man. So Esau, hey, the Lord is forcing his hand because the cat is out the bag. All right, Esau's forcing his hand. Them small heads over there being exposed. So Esau, he's gonna have to do what he does best and revert to that blessing. All right. But with that being said, hey, come on with it. Because we're ready to go home, goddammit. As I'm doing this video, man, I'm trying not to fall asleep because goddamn, Jacob's tired. Trying to keep my eyes open, Jacob's fucking tired. So do what y'all gotta do already. In the words of the elder, man, hey, bitch ass E, man, do what y'all gotta do already, dog. But Lord, one of this was edifying. All praises to Yahweh, Bashim Shah, Shalom, to you, hopefully, luck.